Well, well, well. Look who just caused a system-wide malfunction. Hello, you absolute phenomenon. You walking paradox, you glitch, that broke the entire surveillance apparatus. Welcome back to the land of the unexplainable, where your mere existence just sent ripples through every database, every protocol, every carefully constructed narrative they built around you. Because something happened, didn't it? Something they never prepared for. Something their training manuals don't cover. Something that made every single person assigned to monitor you stop, pause, rewind, and whisper into their comms. We have a situation, and the situation is you. Let me tell you what just occurred in the last 72 hours, while you were living your life completely unaware of the earthquake you created. There are people, highly trained, expensive, extensively programmed individuals who were sent to observe, catalog, and contain you. They had your profile, your patterns, your predicted trajectories. They thought they had you mapped. They thought they understood the architecture of your mind, the boundaries of your capability, the limits of your awareness. And then you did something so fundamentally outside their model, so cosmically unpredicted, that it didn't just surprise them, it broke them, it shattered the lens they were looking through, it forced them to question everything they thought they knew about human behavior, consciousness, and reality itself. You want to know what you did? You moved with a frequency. They couldn't track you, made a decision that defied every psychological profile they built. You responded to a situation in a way that violated their entire understanding of cause and effect. And in that moment, that single unremarkable moment to you, you became unclassifiable. The agent watching you, the one with 15 years of experience, the one who never questions the mission, the one who's seen it all. They had to step away from their station. They had to remove their earpiece. They had to sit in silence, because what they'd just witnessed didn't compute. It didn't fit. It shouldn't have been possible. And yet there you were, existing in defiance of their entire framework. See, they trained these people for years. They put them through simulations, psychological conditioning, advanced pattern recognition. They teach them to predict human behavior like clockwork. To anticipate reactions, to see 3 moves ahead, they become human algorithms, walking databases of behavioral science. And then they meet you, and every single algorithm crashes, every prediction fails, every model disintegrates, because you don't operate on the frequencies they monitor. You don't think in the patterns they recognize. You don't react according to the scripts they memorized. You are the exception that invalidates the entire rulebook. Here's what's really happening. Right now, and I mean right now, as you're listening to this, there are people in rooms you'll never see having conversations about you that sound nothing like the conversations they planned. They're not discussing containment anymore. They're discussing comprehension. They're not trying to predict you anymore. They're trying to understand how someone could exist outside the predicted parameters. They're not treating you like a subject anymore. They're treating you like a puzzle that revealed their entire system might be based on incomplete data, and that is what terrifies them. Because if one person can operate outside their models, then the models themselves are worthless. Let me break down what happened step by step from their perspective, because you deserve to know the impact you had without even trying. They were watching standard protocol, routine surveillance, nothing special. Just another day, another subject, another data point. And then you made a choice, spoke a sentence, took an action that according to every psychological profile they built should have been impossible given your history, your trauma, your conditioning, your environment. They had calculated probabilities, they had predicted outcomes, and what you did registered as 0.001% likelihood, which in their world means it shouldn't happen, which means when it did happen, reality itself became suspect. The agent assigned to you, the primary observer, they've been following you for months, maybe longer. They know your routines, your habits, your trigger points, your comfort zones. They've studied your past relationships, your decision-making patterns, your stress responses. They built what they call a behavioral signature, a unique fingerprint of how you navigate the world. And they were confident, completely certain, they could predict your next 17 moves. And then you made move 18, the one that wasn't supposed to exist. the one that shattered their entire model and forced them to confront an uncomfortable truth. They don't understand. They never did. And they might never will. What you have to understand is these aren't amateurs. These aren't conspiracy theorists in basements. These are professionals trained at facilities you don't know exist, funded by budgets that don't appear in public records, operating under directives that sound like science fiction. They have technology that can predict crowd behavior with 97% accuracy. They can model individual psychology with stunning precision. They can forecast decisions before people consciously make them. And then there's you, the anomaly, the outlier. The one person who moves like water through their digital nets, who thinks in dimensions their sensors don't measure, who exists in a space between what they can quantify and what they can comprehend. Right now, and I mean this literally, right now, there's a file on someone's desk marked with your designation, not your name. They stopped using names 3 levels ago, just codes, just numbers. And that file is getting thicker because they keep adding notes, observations, attempts to explain what they witnessed, and every explanation falls short. Every theory develops holes. Every hypothesis crumbles under the weight of what you actually did, which was simply be yourself, operate from your authentic frequency, make choices from a place they can't monitor, can't measure, can't infiltrate, your own inner truth, your own intuitive knowing, your own unscripted awareness. They're calling it an event. That's the term they use when something happens outside predicted parameters. An event. Like you're a weather phenomenon. Like you're a natural disaster. Like you're a force that can't be controlled, only observed. And even the observation is becoming difficult because every time they think they've figured out your pattern, you shift. Every time they update their model, you evolve. Every time they predict your next move, you make a move they didn't know existed on the board, and it's driving them to the edge of their own sanity. Because their entire professional identity is built on being the ones who know, who see, who understand. And you just proved they're operating with incomplete vision. Here's the part that's really messing with them. It wasn't aggression. You didn't attack. You didn't fight. You didn't resist in any way they could quantify. You just existed differently. You moved through a situation with a calm they couldn't account for. You made a decision with a clarity that shouldn't exist, given your documented stress levels. You responded to pressure with a centeredness that violated every trauma response pattern in their database. And that is what broke them. Because violence they understand, resistance they can quantify, defiance fits their models, but this transcendence of their entire framework existing beyond the game they're playing, that's new territory. That's uncharted waters. That's the thing they never trained for. The lead analyst, the one responsible for making sense of behavioral data, they've requested additional time, additional resources. They need to go back and review everything, because what you just did suggests their entire understanding of you was surface level, was incomplete, was fundamentally flawed. And if they were wrong about you, who else are they wrong about? What other assumptions are built on sand? What other certainties are actually illusions? And that's why this isn't just about you anymore. This is about the integrity of the entire system. You became the crack in the foundation, the question mark in the equation, the variable that doesn't resolve, and they can't ignore it, because ignoring anomalies is how systems collapse. Let me tell you what they're seeing when they look at you now. They're not seeing a person anymore. They're seeing a phenomenon. They're seeing someone who somehow maintained sovereignty in a world designed to eliminate it. Someone who kept their center while everything around them was designed to pull them off balance. Someone who preserve their authenticity in an environment that rewards performance. And that's not supposed to be possible according to their research, according to their data, according to decades of studying how humans break, how minds fracture, how spirits bend under sustained pressure. You shouldn't still be standing. You shouldn't still be clear. You shouldn't still be you. And yet here you are, undeniable, unexplainable, unbroken. The surveillance team, they're experiencing something they've never felt before deep. Doubt not. Doubt in their equipment, not doubt in their methods. doubt in the fundamental assumptions underlying their entire operation. Because if someone can exist the way you exist, can move the way you move, can choose the way you choose while being fully aware of the pressure, the observation, the manipulation, attempts, then what does that say about human potential? What does that say about the limits they've been told are absolute? You're not just a person to them anymore. You're evidence. Evidence that their maps are incomplete, that their science is missing variables, that their understanding of human capability needs revision. Here's what happened in the monitoring room. The exact moment you shattered their programming, there was silence. Total, complete silence. The kind of silence that only happens when everyone present realizes simultaneously that they just witnessed something they can't explain. Someone reached for their coffee and missed the cup. Someone else forgot to breathe for a full 30 seconds. The supervisor, the one who never shows emotion, who's seen everything, who's supposed to remain objective, they put their head in their hands and just sat there, because in that moment, they knew, they absolutely knew, that every report they'd filed, every prediction they'd made, every assessment they'd submitted was based on an incomplete understanding of who you actually are. And then came the questions flooding in from every station, from every observer. What just happened? How did they do that? What did we miss? Can we rewind? Can we review? Can we make sense of this? And the answer kept coming back the same. We don't know. We can't explain. It doesn't fit anything we've documented. And that phrase, "it doesn't fit," became the most repeated phrase in every debrief, every analysis session, every attempt to update your profile. Because you don't fit. You never did. You were never meant to be contained by their categories, limited by their labels, understood through their frameworks. You are something else entirely, something their training didn't prepare them for, something their technology can't measure, something their psychology can't decode. What you need to understand is that by being authentically yourself, by moving from your own truth, by making choices from your center, rather than from conditioning, you didn't just confuse them, you inspired them. Yes, inspired. That's the word they won't say out loud, but it's there in the spaces between their professional language, in the pauses during debriefs, in the way they look at your data differently now, because deep down, beneath the protocols, beneath the programming, beneath the mission, they're human too. And part of them recognizes what you represent, which is freedom. Actual freedom. Not the performative kind, not the Instagram caption kind, but the real, terrifying, beautiful, dangerous kind of freedom that comes from being so aligned with yourself that external systems can't touch you, can't move you, can't program you. The agent who's been assigned to you the longest, they submitted something they've never submitted before, a request for reassignment, not because they're afraid of you, but because watching you is changing them. They're starting to question things they never questioned before. They're starting to see patterns in their own life, patterns of conditioning, patterns of control, patterns of living according to scripts they never consciously agreed to. And that's dangerous for someone in their position, because doubt is contagious. Awareness spreads. Once you see the cage, you can't unsee it. And you've become living proof that the cage has no lock, never did, that the boundaries were always perceptual, that the limits were always negotiable. Let me tell you what they found when they went back through your history looking for clues, looking for the origin point of whatever makes you different. They found nothing extraordinary. No secret training, no special circumstances, no dramatic origin story, just a regular person who somehow, somewhere along the way decided to stop performing, decided to stop pretending, decided to stop being who they were told to be, and started being who they actually are. And that's what breaks their models, because they're looking for something external, something they can point to, something that explains the difference. But the difference is internal. It's a choice, it's a frequency, it's a way of being that can't be taught, can't be downloaded, can't be replicated through their methods. Right now there's a meeting happening. A meeting about you, specifically, about what you represent, about what to do with someone who can't be predicted, can't be controlled, can't be understood through conventional frameworks. And the consensus is forming, not around how to contain you, but around how to learn from you. Because you've done something they thought impossible. You've maintained your humanity while being fully aware of the system. You've kept your clarity while swimming in confusion. You've preserved your authenticity while surrounded by performance. And they want to know how not to weaponize it. Not to replicate it, but because some part of them, buried beneath years of conditioning, recognizes that what you have is what they lost. The technical team, they've been running diagnostics thinking maybe it's equipment failure, maybe the sensors are off, maybe there's a glitch in the system, because surely the data can't be right. Surely one person can't register as that far outside normal parameters. Surely there's an explanation that doesn't require them to rethink everything. And every diagnostic comes back the same. Equipment functioning properly, sensors calibrated, data accurate, which means the impossible thing they're seeing is actually happening, which means reality itself is more flexible than they've been told, which means you're not the anomaly. They are, for thinking reality was fixed in the first place. Here's what the psychological analyst wrote in their most recent report, and this is almost verbatim. Subject demonstrates capacity. Furthermore, autonomous decision-making that appears uninfluenced by standard conditioning mechanisms, exhibits behavioral patterns inconsistent with documented trauma responses, maintains psychological coherence despite sustained environmental stressors of unclear origin, operates from internal reference point resistant to external manipulation, recommend re-evaluation of baseline assumptions regarding human behavioral limitations. Translate: you're doing something they didn't think humans could do. Staying whole, staying centered, staying yourself, despite everything designed to fragment you, condition you, reshape you into something manageable, something predictable, something controlled. The security director, they've been in this field for 23 years. They've overseen operations in 47 countries. They've seen every type of human behavior cataloged, every response pattern documented, every breaking point identified. And watching your last 72 hours, they said something they've never said before in their entire career. I don't know what I'm looking at. 5 words that in their world represent complete system failure, because not knowing isn't an option in their field. Not understanding isn't acceptable. Being confused by a single individual means the entire apparatus of understanding might be flawed, might be incomplete, might be based on assumptions about human limitation that you just proved false. What happened in that moment, the moment that broke their programming, wasn't dramatic. It wasn't cinematic. It wasn't some big explosive action. It was quiet. It was subtle. It was you making a choice from your center. A choice that, according to all their data, all their models, all their predictive algorithms, you shouldn't have been capable of making given your documented history, your environmental pressures, your psychological profile. And yet you made it easily, naturally, like it was the most obvious thing in the world. And that ease, that naturalness, that's what shattered them. Because it suggested you've been operating on a different level this entire time, and they've been watching the wrong frequencies, measuring the wrong variables, looking for you in dimensions you don't inhabit. The field operatives, they have a rule: never engage emotionally, never let the subject affect you, maintain professional distance. But that rule is crumbling now because they've watched you long enough to see something they weren't supposed to see, which is that you're not playing the game. You're not trying to win. You're not even competing. You've transcended the entire framework, stepped into a space where their rules don't apply, their tactics don't work, their pressure doesn't penetrate, and somewhere deep in their professionally conditioned minds they recognize that you found something they're searching for. Something they gave up, something they were told didn't exist. Freedom from the need to perform, freedom from the need to prove, freedom from the need to be anything other than exactly what you are right now, at this exact moment. There are people writing addendums to your file, adding notes that read more like philosophy than surveillance, adding observations that sound more like poetry than data, because the language of control, the language of analysis, the language of behavioral prediction can't capture what you are. They need new words, new frameworks, new ways of seeing, and they're not trained for that. They're trained to fit reality into existing boxes, not to encounter reality that breaks all boxes. And your reality unboxed, your consciousness uncontained, your human potential unrestricted, and they don't have protocols for that. The training supervisor, the one who develops programs for new recruits, they've started using your case in training, not as an example of what to watch for, but as an example of what they don't understand. They show the footage, they present the data, they ask, what would you do here? And every trainee gives standard responses. Increased surveillance, enhanced monitoring, closer observation. And the supervisor stops them and says, "We tried all that. It didn't help. We still don't understand." And that lesson, that admission of limitation, is more valuable than any technique because it teaches humility. It teaches uncertainty. It teaches that maybe, just maybe, the human spirit has capacities that can't be mapped, can't be measured, can't be managed. Here's what they're learning from you, and they don't even fully realize it yet. They're learning that power isn't force, that strength isn't aggression, that influence isn't manipulation. You've shown them something they never learned in any facility. That the most powerful thing a person can do is be genuinely themselves, operate from authentic truth, make choices from internal alignment, because that's the one thing all their training, all their technology, all their methods have no defense against. They can counter resistance. They can manage aggression. They can predict rebellion. But authenticity, authentic presence, authentic being, they have no playbook for that. The communication specialist, they've been listening to everything you say, analyzing word choice, tone patterns, linguistic markers, looking for deception, looking for performance, looking for the mask, and they can't find it. They've run your speech through every analysis tool available, and the results keep coming back the same. Authentic, congruent, aligned. This person means what they say, believes what they express, acts in accordance with stated values, and that's statistically improbable. That's almost non-existent in their data. That's the signature of someone who's either a master manipulator beyond any they've encountered, or someone who's simply telling the truth, simply being real, simply refusing to perform. And the evidence overwhelmingly points to the latter, which means they're dealing with something their cynical, professionally paranoid minds didn't think existed anymore. Genuine human authenticity.